In today's episode of Manhood, Race, and Culture, we're going to take a look at the absolute insanity, arguably the most disrespectful thing that we've ever seen Black folk do in regards to our ancestors. Yes, I'm talking about the four Black females, I can't call them women, who decided to twerk on top of Mina Castle.
Welcome to Manhood, Race, and Culture. This site has been created specifically to deal with African American males and the issues that surround us as far as manhood ideology, racial matters, and also culture. On this site, you will engage various forms of media dealing with current events, manhood issues, cultural matters that affect Americans as well as Black Americans, a political framework, and of course the issue of race. Race not only within but also outside of race. Finally, all of this will be contextualized by a relevant, correct historical recitation that illuminates the path that African Americans have traveled. How did we arrive at this point? Those are crucial issues that we need to deal with. Ultimately, what we're seeking to do in this space right here is to liberate Black America and move us forward collectively as a group. We're going to have some intense, terse conversations here. And I hope that you can kick off your shoes, you can make yourself at home, and really engage us and enjoy what you're going to experience here. It would go a great measure if you subscribe, liked, shared, and push that notification button for us. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, and peace.
I'll tell you the truth that the reason that this video of these four Black, once again, I won't call them women, four Black females, struck me so strongly is because I've been to Ghana over 10 times. I've led student groups there in my role as a African American Studies professor. And one of the central aspects of what we would do is, number one, we would commune with those who went before us, meaning many of our elders who have repatriated to the Cape Coast of Ghana. And the epicenter of that gathering has always been a place called One Africa. If you're ever in Ghana, find your way to One Africa and find Sister Imachus and her son Shabazz. And trust me when I say that it would enrich your trip there immeasurably. One of the reasons why I made it a point for my students to make it to One Africa flows from the reality that our elders who are there are in many ways begging for us to come and commune with the ancestors. And a major part of that, and if you're at One Africa, I'll say this, if you look to your right, you can see Mina, what we're going to be talking about today. But if you look to your left as well, you'll see the Cape Coast Castle. Ghana is filled with what they like to refer to as castles. I prefer to refer to them as what they actually are, slave dungeons. It is where European nations would go to basically mine Africa for Black bodies for labor in the West. Now, having said that, Mina means the mine. In the mine, and what they were mining was once again black gold or black bodies. So going to Mina should be, if you have an ounce of common sense, it should be something that is revered, something that is respected. And I'll tell you a quick story of one of my trips to Mina, because I would make it there every year that I was in Ghana. During one of the trips, I had a confrontation with Asian tourists who were, from my estimation, disrespecting our ancestors by running around, playing the game of tag, laughing, as if they had no comprehension, no understanding, or just did not care about the hallowed ground that they were standing on. That's what makes what we saw on top of Mina so doggone disturbing. And for those of you who may have not seen it, here's what I'm actually referring to. As you can clearly see, these black females, one just has to ask themselves, how detached must you be to even conceive, let alone to execute what you just saw? And for one of them to literally say, for the ancestors, what are you talking about? One could only pray that maybe the ancestors didn't see that. Maybe they didn't feel what it is that you did. And what makes this even worse is quite simply that it is happening literally above the female slave dungeon where their ancestors were held in a pen for weeks, if not months. A place that if you ever go to Mina, one of the most startling things about it is quite simply that you smell menstrual blood ground into the walls, in the dirt. And the caretakers of Mina will tell you, they've tried everything. They've taken all of the dirt out. They've scrubbed the walls, and that smell still stays there. And the fact that what we have are 4 of the descendants of women who went through hell so they could be there. To disrespect them like that is incredible. Let me expound a little bit about what the experience was for our female ancestors who were trapped in that very space that I'm alluding to. The captain, whoever was in charge, whichever nation was in charge of Mina, and you have to remember that Europeans battled over slave dungeons, trying to enrich themselves by transporting blacks back and forth across the Atlantic Ocean. The captain would stand from his perch and would point out one black female. That was his sign to his men. That was the one that he wanted to bed down, basically that he would rape. But he wanted her to submit. So they would chain her in the middle of the courtyard with the hot sun beating on her. Rain, if it rained, she was exposed to the elements until she succumbed and in many ways broke. Then she would be taken up to his quarters, washed, and raped until he was done with her. And to see black females who are so detached from any understanding of morality, what is proper, not to mention a gross, almost astounding lack of understanding of actually where you are and what it actually means. It reveals so much about not just them, but also our people, many of our people, not all of them, in regards to having no understanding of historical context or what their people have gone through. It is morally repugnant, inexcusable. They should be ostracized from Black America. However, I can almost guarantee you that they aren't. Because the droves of silly people, male and female, that we have in our midst is befuddling. So when we look at, and I won't even play it again, 4 Black females twerking on top of hallowed ground, I'm almost speechless. I pray that they're able to increase their understanding of what our people went through and can comprehend what they went through. And towards helping them achieve that lofty goal, and it's a lofty goal for them if they're that silly-minded that they think that twerking on top of a slave dungeon is honoring our ancestors. I'm offering them this little historical tidbit. Maybe if they see this, maybe if someone shows it to them, just maybe, it may impact their silly, childish minds.
Christ, what a stink, Captain. What did you bring, a cargo of rotten meat?
What do you mean? This is all prime beef. They stink because they eat like pigs, then they vomit all over themselves.
Long voyage?
95 days from the Ivory Coast.
Don't you ever take 'em up on deck for a little fresh air?
With all the frigates nosing around these waters like hungry dogs. Times have changed, Mr. Sims, now that our damn Yankee government considers this cargo contraband. If they catch me with even one nigger on board, it's up the rope I go, and I wouldn't be the first.
They're bound to rot away down there in that cesspool.
Not on your life. Aboard my ship, hygiene's the rule. That means a clean ship, clean cargo. When one of them gets took bad, I don't wait till he plagues the others. No, sir. It's into the briny with them, then and there. Captain Wicks delivers the goods in perfect condition. Anyone can tell you that.
How many head you got?
326, including the wench. This batch is all stallions. No syphilis, and they've all busting with seed. But look how rested they are. I travels with comfort. Each one got a space 6 foot by 2 foot. Why, they can even turn around. Real stallions. Every night they so hot for pleasure, and they all humping each other like a pack of dogs. And change don't stop no how. And here's the wenches. All of them got pups, and near all is pregnant again.
How many?
112. You go $300 each?
You tetched, Captain? You know I don't buy by the head, I buy by the pound.
All right. Say $200.
By the pound, I said. Hey, what are you doing, drowning them?
I told you. Rule number 1, hygiene. 3 showers a day. Salt water kills their fleas and lice.
Then you wring them and hang them out to dry, I reckon. God almighty, what a pest hole. That's diarrhea. Just busting with help, ain't they, you old pirate?
It happens now and then. But we know how to cure it.
The usual cure?
It's the oldest and the surest. Sugarcane plug, oakum, and tar. And bam, ram it in hard. Keeps the bowels locked up tight and the soul from escaping with the back door.
How come he don't blow up?
Cork will pop out first, just like a bottle of champagne.
Hey, what's that slop?
Well, that's molasses and beef grease. Diggers goes crazy for it. Have to truss them and feed them a little at a time, otherwise they choke themselves on it.
Looking at him, you wouldn't think so.
That one, he's taken it into his head to starve himself to death. A real pitiful case. Hey, Doc, chisel, hammer, and funnel. Go ahead and serve dinner. All right, let's say $150 a head.
You just breaking wind again. By the pound, I said. The whole cargo at $1 a pound.
$2.
$1.25.
$1.75.
$1.50.
So, I'll regret it, but it's a deal.
Thank you for visiting Manhood, Race, and Culture. We would greatly appreciate it if you would take a moment to subscribe, like, share, and push the notification button. As you well know, we are a new channel that's trying to grow our audience, and if you like what it is that you've experienced,